It's an excellent point, and let's assume that she didn't say anything in that interview to change the trajectory of the reporting, as Evan says, and there are no charges. There's still likely to be a pretty damning report about a galactic lapse in judgment, setting up a private email server when you are the Secretary of State about to handle some of the most sensitive information in government. So let's see where this one goes forward. That's the substance of it, the law of it, if you will. Donald Trump couldn't resist getting into the politics. The Republican National Committee issued a statement noting the fact that here's a major party, almost nominee for president, being interviewed by the FBI. Donald Trump on Twitter, first he tweets, "It's impossible for the FBI not to recommend criminal charges against Hillary Clinton. What she did was wrong. What Bill did was stupid." We'll get to the Bill part in just a minute. And then he tweets after the reporting comes out saying that they're not likely to push charges. Donald Trump tweets this: "It was just announced by sources that no charges will be brought against crooked Hillary Clinton. Like I said, the system is totally rigged." On the one hand, he is her opponent, and you could get that reaction. On the other hand, if he's president of the United States, the FBI director is going to be sitting at his side, giving sensitive briefings. Is it appropriate for Donald Trump to be essentially trashing the FBI?
Probably not, but I also don't think that's going to stop him necessarily. Right. I do think that every time that Donald Trump says that last sentence in that second tweet, the system is rigged, that is his best message in this campaign. And if he can just keep making that point about the emails and the Clintons and what they would do in power, I think he could be quite successful. The problem for him is it gets lost in various other things that he's saying.
But once he's president, it won't be rigged anymore. It'll all be
He's not the first to suggest that it is.
Right, but the outsider message works for Trump. But at this moment, is it best for the Republicans to just step back? Or does it help? If they assume, I guess if they assume that there are going to be no charges, I guess piling on gins up your base. I mean, you could make a case that when this happens, the Republicans should just step back. As they say, you know, if she's on fire, just let her do it herself.
I think they add fuel to it, honestly. I mean, well, you've seen Trump. I don't think he can do anything except for add fuel to the fire. But I also think that, you know, the question is whether Trump just tries to hammer her as sort of crooked Hillary, or whether he takes, you know, this investigation, the email investigation, whether he takes the Benghazi report and whips it up into a broader question. You know, does this person have the judgment to be president? Right. Do you feel safer now than you did 8 years ago? Would she make the right decision if our country was in peril? And if he uses all of that to frame a broader message about the judgment, about the safety of our nation, then I think this is the kind of thing that could really work to his benefit. But of course, these are two candidates that are very prone to unforced errors. And so I think it's
and I think you're going to see some of that fire this week trained at the president or the vice president, especially because both of them will be campaigning with her. The idea is to maybe bring them down a few pegs, discount them as surrogates for her. Because the president right now is actually, you know, majority of the country now thinks he's popular again, which is pretty good for him. And you don't want that if you're the Republicans going into the general election season, have a popular incumbent president helping out his potential successor. So this is probably their last chance to get him too. And by associating him while we're waiting, the FBI is probably their last chance to do it.
Now we don't know what will happen in the final days. They've interviewed so many other people. Now they interview Hillary Clinton. What they'll do is go back and check, make sure everything matches up. And if Evan's reporting is on track, no new surprises popped up, they get to a final report. One thing we do know is that this is essentially Jim Comey's decision. Normally, in an investigation so sensitive, and even in a middling investigation, the FBI director goes to the Attorney General and says, here's what I think, what do you think? And they have a little conversation about it. You put the best legal minds at the table, and you make a decision. But Loretta Lynch, the Attorney General, has had to all but recuse herself. She said at the Aspen Ideas Forum this week, she's going to leave this one up to the FBI. Why did she have to say that? Well, she's in a box of her own making. She was in Phoenix the other day, a guy named Bill Clinton, the wife of the husband of the candidate, and the former president of the United States, walked onto Loretta Lynch's plane, and they say it was a conversation about golf and about grandchildren, about Janet Reno. Loretta Lynch in a box, she says now, I probably shouldn't have done this.
I certainly wouldn't do it again. You know, because I think it has cast this shadow over what it should not, over what it will not touch. It's important to talk about how it will be resolved. It's important to make it clear that that meeting with President Clinton does not have a bearing on how this matter is going to be reviewed, resolved.
You could ask the question, what was he thinking, the former president? What was she thinking, the Attorney General? But isn't the answer, I guess, nobody was thinking?
This is so stunning that this happened. Bill Clinton gets on a plane with the Attorney General who is investigating his wife at a very pivotal moment for her campaign. I really was just astounded by the fact that this meeting went forward for 30 minutes. And you can believe both of them that they did not talk about the investigation. They likely did not. But the perception for people who think that the Clintons are trying to game the system, that it is rigged in their favor, This is going to be at the top of the list for their evidence.
I'd like to say I was surprised, but I covered Bill Clinton for 20 plus years, got most of these gray hairs, and he likes the high wire.
It says something about her, though, because even if he came on the plane and she tried to make nice with him at first, she should have had a staffer that stepped in and said, can I talk to you for a second over here? And then she should have come back and said, look, buddy, with all due respect, I realize it's 108 degrees out. We'll get back on your plane. I'm going to stay on mine. And we never, we end this now.
But you've
Because
got a
with all
point.
due respect, I'm investigating your wife. It says something about her judgment, I think, that she didn't have the gumption to say that.